She was a billionaire with everything: power, fame, and beauty. Until one rainy night, a homeless stranger dragged her out of a burning car and vanished. But when she searched for him, she uncovered something darker. A secret powerful man would kill to keep buried. Who was he really? And why did saving her life put both of them in danger? Stay till the end, because the truth about this man will leave you speechless. The wind whipped through the narrow alley, carrying the bitter scent of rain and rust. Under a flickering streetlight, a man sat wrapped in a torn blanket, his beard heavy with dust and years of silence. His name was Tom. He had once been someone. Now, he was just a shadow among cardboard walls and cold concrete. The night was quiet, except for the distant hum of city traffic and the soft drip of water from a cracked pipe. Tom's stomach twisted with hunger, but he did not move. He had learned to ignore the ache. Then he heard it. A sharp sound, metal screeching, tire skidding. A car lost control on the slick street above. Tom lifted his head. Headlights flared white against the wet pavement. The car spun, then crashed through the railing and plummeted down the slope toward the alley. Glass shattered. A woman screamed. The impact echoed like thunder between the walls. Tom stumbled to his feet, his heart pounding. He ran toward the wreck, slipping on broken glass and rainwater. Through the twisted frame of the car, he saw her. A woman with golden hair, her eyes wide with terror, her body pinned beneath the steering wheel. Smoke hissed from the hood. Gasoline dripped to the ground. He could smell it, sharp, heavy, dangerous. Tom pulled at the door, but it was jammed. His hands bled as metal bit into his skin. He coughed from the smoke but refused to stop. The woman's voice broke through the chaos. "Help me, please." Her tone was not commanding like the voices of the rich. It was fragile. Human. Tom found a piece of metal pipe and jammed it between the door and frame. He pushed with all his strength. The door gave way with a shriek. He reached in, unbuckled her seatbelt, and pulled her free just as flames began to crawl along the dashboard. The heat burned his face, his hands shaking as he dragged her to safety. She fell against him, coughing, trembling. Rain poured down, washing the blood from her temple. Tom looked at her. Her diamond necklace gleamed in the streetlight. A millionaire. He had seen her face before, on billboards and magazines. A woman who lived in towers of glass and gold. Now, she was just as helpless as he once had been. Sirens wailed in the distance. She turned to look at him, her lips trembling. Why did you help me?" she asked. Tom said nothing. He only looked at her eyes that had never seen the world from the ground before. As the paramedics rushed toward them, she reached for his hand. But Tom stepped back. His shadow melted into the alley as flashing lights painted the wet walls red and blue. When she blinked, he was gone. Only his blanket remained, soaked through, lying in a puddle beside the broken glass. The next morning, the newspapers spoke of a mysterious hero. But no one knew his name. Not even her. Yet as she stood by her hospital window, she swore she saw him again. Across the street, watching silently from the rain. And this time, there was something in his eyes that made her heart stop cold. His eyes were not begging, not broken, not empty as she had imagined. They were alive. Fierce. Like someone who had already survived 100 deaths and learned to stop fearing the next one. The woman, her name was Evelyn Shaw, felt her throat tighten. Outside, the city moved as if nothing had happened. Cars glided, umbrellas opened, people rushed by, all too busy to look up. But Tom stood still. His gaze never wavered. She pressed her palm against the glass, as if she could reach through the storm between them. He did not move closer. He only gave a small nod. Then, before she could call out, he turned and disappeared into the crowd. Evelyn's pulse raced. That night, she could not sleep. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw his face illuminated by the flames, his hands dragging her away from death. She heard his silence more than she had ever heard her own voice. The next morning, she did something no one expected. She ordered her driver to take her back to the alley. The same one where the crash had happened. It looked different in daylight. Less like a nightmare, more like a forgotten corner of the world. Cardboard shelters lined the walls. The air smelled of damp cloth and smoke. A few men huddled near a barrel fire, their eyes hollow, their words slow and quiet. Evelyn stepped out of her car, her heels sinking into the mud. The men stared, suspicious and curious. One of them, an older man with a faded army jacket, spoke first. "You lost, lady?" She shook her head. "I'm looking for someone. His name is Tom." The man's brow furrowed. He glanced toward the far end of the alley. "Tom? Ain't seen him since last night. Cops came, lights everywhere. He left before they could ask him anything." Her chest tightened. She reached into her coat and handed him a thick envelope. "If you see him again," she said softly, "give this to him. Tell him, thank you." But as she turned to leave, a raspy voice came from behind the barrels. "You do not need to pay for saving your own life." Evelyn froze. Her breath caught in her throat. She turned slowly. Tom stood there. His coat was wet, his beard darker from the rain. There was a quiet defiance in his posture, as if he expected her to look down on him, yet hoped she would not. "I am not trying to pay you," she whispered. I need to help you. Please." He stepped into the light, the flames from the barrel flickering across his face. "You think I want help from your world?" he asked. "The same world that walked past me 1,000 times when I was starving?" His words stung more than she expected. She lowered her eyes, her voice trembling. "I do not know why I survived last night. But I know it was because of you." For a long moment, neither of them spoke. The rain began to fall again, soft and cold, filling the silence between them. Then Tom said quietly, "You survived because you were meant to see something, Miss Shaw." Maybe for the first time. She looked up. "What do you mean?" He took a step closer. "The world looks very different when you have nothing left to lose." And before she could answer, he turned away once more. Back into the maze of rain, smoke, and forgotten faces. But this time Evelyn followed. The sound of her heels echoed softly on the wet pavement as she followed him deeper into the alley. The air grew colder, the light dimmer. Each step felt like a descent into a different world, one that existed beneath her own but had always been invisible to her. Tom did not look back. He moved with quiet purpose, his shoulders hunched, his pace steady. At last, he stopped before a small opening between two crumbling walls. It was not a home. It was a hollow space, stacked with broken crates, a torn sleeping bag, a few plastic bottles, and a small tin cross hanging from a nail. He stood there silently, letting her see it all. "This is where you live?" she asked, her voice faint. He nodded once. "It is where I sleep," he said. "Living, that is something else." The rain drummed on the metal sheets above them. Evelyn stepped closer, her perfume mingling with the damp, metallic air. She had never felt so far from her world of glass towers and silver elevators. She glanced around, noticing a small photo taped to the wall, a woman and a little girl smiling in sunlight. "Your family?" she asked softly. Tom's jaw tightened. "My wife. My daughter." He did not look at the picture. "They died 8 years ago. Fire." Evelyn's throat constricted. "I am sorry," she whispered. He gave a faint smile that did not reach his eyes. "Do not be. Sorry does not rebuild what is gone. It only reminds you how empty your hands are." The words cut through her like wind. For a long while, there was only the sound of rain. Then, carefully, Evelyn removed her necklace, the same diamond one he had seen glittering in the flames. She held it out to him. "Take it. Sell it. Get a place, something warm, safe." Tom looked at the diamonds, then at her. His eyes hardened. "Do you think I saved you for this?" She froze. Her hand trembled slightly. I want to do something good. He stepped closer, his voice low but sharp. Then stop trying to erase your guilt with money. Do something that costs you more than that. The words hit her harder than any insult could. Her chest tightened, shame burning beneath her skin. She lowered the necklace slowly, her reflection trembling in each diamond. What do you want me to do then? She asked. Tom looked away, toward the city skyline glowing faintly through the mist. See them, he said. All the ones you never noticed before. The ones sleeping in your doorways, eating from your trash. You do not have to save me. But save someone. Evelyn's breath caught. His voice was not angry anymore, it was tired, almost pleading. I can try, she said quietly. Tom nodded, finally meeting her gaze. Then maybe last night was not an accident after all. He turned back to his shelter, his shadow swallowed by the dark. Evelyn stood there for a moment, the necklace clutched in her palm, its cold metal pressing into her skin. When she walked away, the city no longer looked the same. Every shadow had a face. Every corner a story. Every drop of rain felt like a reminder that she had been given something rare, another chance. But she did not know that this would not be the last time she saw Tom. Because fate was not finished with either of them yet. 3 weeks passed. Evelyn Shaw's name returned to the headlines, this time not for her luxury brand or high society parties, but for something entirely different. She had launched the Second Chance Initiative, a citywide project to provide food, shelter, and jobs for the homeless. Her board of directors called it reckless. Her investors called it madness. But Evelyn called it redemption. Every morning, she visited the construction sites herself, abandoned warehouses now turning into shelters, kitchens, and clinics. She walked among the workers, shook their hands, asked their stories. And every night, when the city lights glimmered across the wet streets, she looked for him. Tom. No one had seen him since that night. It was as if he had melted into the city's veins, vanishing where light could not reach. Then, one evening, as she was leaving a shelter under the bridge, she heard raised voices. A group of young men surrounded someone near the dumpsters, laughing, kicking, shouting. The same cruelty she had once ignored. Every morning, she visited the construction sites herself, abandoned warehouses now turning into shelters, kitchens, and clinics. She walked among the workers, shook their hands, asked their stories. And every night, when the city lights glimmered across the wet streets, she looked for him. Tom. No one had seen him since that night. It was as if he had melted into the city's veins, vanishing where light could not reach. Then, one evening, as she was leaving a shelter under the bridge, she heard raised voices. A group of young men surrounded someone near the dumpsters, laughing, kicking, shouting. The same cruelty she had once ignored. Stop, she cried, running forward. The men turned, startled. One of them spat on the ground. Lady, mind your business. But Evelyn's voice was sharp, trembling with anger. Let him go. They sneered, but before anyone could move, a low, familiar voice cut through the noise. Listen to her. The men turned. Tom stepped out of the shadows. His face was thinner, his eyes darker, but the strength in his presence had not faded. The attackers hesitated, then scattered into the night. Evelyn stood frozen, staring at him as if seeing a ghost. Tom, she breathed. I thought you were gone. He shrugged lightly. I was never gone. Just somewhere you were not looking. She took a shaky step closer. I started the program. The shelters. You were right, I had to do something real. It is working, Tom. People are getting food, jobs, hope. Tom looked at her, his expression unreadable. That is good. But hope is fragile, Evelyn. You build it, and others will try to break it. She frowned. What do you mean? He hesitated, glancing at the flickering lights of the city. You are making enemies. People who profit from despair do not want you fixing it. Her heart skipped a beat. You think someone will try to stop me? I do not think, he said quietly. I know. The sound of distant sirens filled the silence. Rain began to fall again, soft, steady, and cold. Tom stepped closer, his voice almost a whisper. You saved yourself once. Now you need to save what you have built. And you cannot do it alone. Evelyn looked at him, her pulse quickening. You will help me? He nodded slowly. This time I will not disappear. As lightning split the sky above them, their reflections shivered in the puddles at their feet. A man who had lost everything. And a woman who had finally learned what it meant to give. Neither knew that before the night ended, danger would come for both of them. And the dead between their worlds would be tested in fire once again. The thunder cracked above them, echoing through the narrow streets. Evelyn's breath caught as she looked into Tom's eyes. There was something in them she had not seen before. Not just warning. Fear. What are you not telling me? She asked. Tom's gaze shifted toward the shadows behind her. His voice was low. They are already watching you. She turned sharply, scanning the street. A black car idled across the road, its engine humming softly beneath the rain. Tinted windows. No plates. Evelyn's chest tightened. Who are they? Tom's tone darkened. Men who own the corners of this city. Developers, politicians, the ones who buy silence with gold and sell suffering by the pound. You built your shelters on their land, Evelyn. You took away their profits. Lightning flashed. For a moment, she saw movement inside the car. A silhouette. A glint of metal. Tom, she whispered. There. Get down. He pulled her aside just as the car door burst open and a shot rang out. The bullet struck the wall behind them, shattering brick and dust into the air. Evelyn fell to the ground, her heart pounding so hard it drowned the rain. Tom crouched beside her, his body shielding hers. Another shot echoed. He gritted his teeth and pushed her behind a concrete pillar. Stay down, he barked. The car roared, tires screeching as it sped off into the darkness. Silence returned, heavy and wet. Evelyn's ears rang, her hands shaking. When she looked at him, her breath froze. Blood. A dark stain spread across his shoulder. Tom, oh my God, you're hit, she cried. He winced, pressing a hand to the wound. It is nothing. It is not nothing. You need a hospital. He shook his head, rain dripping from his hair. No hospitals. They will find me there. Find us. Her voice broke. Then what are we supposed to do? Tom's eyes flickered toward the alley. There is a place. Come on. She helped him up, her hand gripping his arm, his weight heavy but steady. They moved through the maze of backstreets, past broken fences, rusted pipes, and flickering lights. The city no longer felt familiar to her. It felt alive and dangerous, breathing with secrets she had never imagined. Finally, they reached an old church. Its doors hung crooked, its windows cracked, but a single candle burned inside. Tom pushed the door open with his good arm. Inside, he whispered. She guided him to a wooden pew, the smell of wax and damp stone filling the air. Her hands trembled as she tore part of her blouse to press against his wound. Tom's breath came in sharp, quiet gasps. For a man who lived through fire, he still refused to show pain. Evelyn's eyes filled with tears. You saved me again, she whispered. He gave a faint smile. Seems like it is becoming a habit. She laughed softly through her tears, the sound shaking. But then her gaze hardened. I am not running anymore, Tom. Whoever they are, they tried to kill me, and you. They need to be stopped. Tom looked at her for a long moment, his voice low and certain. Then we stop them together. Outside, the rain fell harder, washing over the church steps like a cleansing storm. But in the distance, the same black car had stopped once more, its headlights off, its windows dark. And inside, a voice on the phone whispered. She is not dead. He was with her again. Find them both. You said.